Welcome everyone to the deep dive. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, welcome.
Today, we're really getting into a piece of work that, well, it just doesn't fade away, does it?
No, it really doesn't. We're talking about Anthony Burgess's A Clockwork Orange.
Exactly. And we've got some great material to work with today. Burgess's own words, from various introductions, notes he wrote, sitting right alongside bits from the novel itself.
And the goal here, our sort of mission, is to unpack why it has such a hold on us,
Right.
why it still feels so relevant. We'll be looking at what Burgess himself said about its origins and its meaning, trying to get insights straight from the source.
Definitely. And right away, one thing that jumps out from Burgess's own writings is his, complicated view of Kubrick's film from '71.
Oh, yeah. He knew the film made the book famous, kept it in the public eye.
Sure.
But he was also quite vocal, wasn't he, about a major difference.
The missing chapter, that final chapter.
Exactly. The version most people encountered, especially in America and because of the film, chopped off the ending.
And Burgess, in his notes, he's pretty clear about how much that changes things, right?
Totally. Without that last chapter, you're kind of left thinking Alex is, stuck. Still thinking about violence, maybe doomed to repeat it.
But the original version, the British one, with chapter 21.
Yeah, that shows Alex actually growing up, choosing to leave the violence behind, wanting something, normal. It completely reframes the story's point.
And this whole missing chapter thing, it really ties into the absolute core of the book, doesn't it? This idea of free will. Burgess hammers this home in his notes. He even mentions writing it quickly because he thought he was dying.
Which maybe gave it that intense focus on these big questions.
Could be. And then there's the language, nadsat, that mix of English and Russian.
He explains that wasn't just, for style points. It was a way to give Alex and his droogs their own code almost. Separate from politics, separate from adult control. Highlighting their weird kind of independence, even in violence.
And Alex's name Burgess plays with that too, doesn't he? Meanings like lawless, or maybe having his own language, his own lexicon.
Right. He wanted Alex, despite the awful things he does, to be somehow understandable. You see his youth, maybe?
Yeah, maybe vulnerable in a strange way. But this central conflict, it's laid out by the prison chaplain in the book, isn't it?
Starkly. Goodness has to be chosen. If you force it, if you take away the choice...
You take away the humanity.
Exactly.
But the state in the story, they see it differently. For them, it's all about order. Crime is like a disease, something to be cured or conditioned out of people.
Not a choice they make.
Right. And that's where the Ludovico technique comes in, making Alex physically sick at the mere thought of violence or sex.
Burgess's notes really stress that this isn't just about changing behavior, it's messing with his actual will.
And he draws parallels, doesn't he, to how things like mass media can also be used to control people.
He does. And drawing on sort of theological ideas, Burgess seems convinced, deeply convinced, that you need the freedom to choose evil for the choice of good to mean anything at all.
He says something like, it's better to have a world with chosen good, even if that means evil exists,
than a world where everyone is forced to be good, but it's meaningless, sterile.
Right. And the state's method, the conditioning, it's clumsy. It's symbolized when Alex loses his love for Beethoven, isn't it?
Yeah.
They can't fix the soul by just treating symptoms.
No, exactly. It's too blunt an instrument.
The structure of the book is interesting, too, that symmetry.
Oh, yeah, the three parts. The violence Alex does in part 1.
Sort of mirrored by the violence done to him in part 3. His world turned upside down.
But it's in that final chapter, chapter 7 of part 3, in the original, the one often left out.
Echoing his beating way back in part 1, chapter 7.
Right. That's where you see Alex genuinely change. Not because he was forced, but because he's experienced being the victim, faced rejection.
And he chooses to move on. He grows up.
That chapter, Burgess really fought to have it included. It shows Alex reaching maturity, choosing responsibility, breaking that cycle. It's all about embracing choice, consequences, and all.
So pulling it all together, A Clockwork Orange really confronts you with this uncomfortable truth. Real freedom has to include the possibility of choosing badly.
Yeah, and if you try to eliminate that possibility, even for the sake of safety or order,
you diminish what it means to be human.
Yes.
You lose something vital.
That tension, between state control and individual liberty, between forced good and the freedom to choose, even choose wrong, it feels very, very relevant when you look around today, doesn't it?
It really does. Which leads to a final thought, maybe for you listening. If real goodness truly requires choice, what does that really imply about our own lives? our own choices, and maybe about the systems, the pressures around us that try to nudge us one way or another.
It's a heavy question. Definitely something to chew on.
Indeed. Well, that brings us to the end of this particular deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us and thinking through these complex ideas.
Yeah, thanks for listening. And hey, if this sparked any thoughts, we'd love to hear them.
Absolutely. Drop a comment, leave us a review, share it if you liked it.
And make sure you subscribe so you catch our next deep dive.
We'll see you then.